Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell I want it to be about. My name is Mary,
And my name is Luke.
and today it's cold. I'm going to jump straight into it today. Do you have any news?
I do have two pieces of news. I'm a little shocked there's been no banter at the start, but we can get right into it. Let's flip things around a bit.
There'll be plenty of banter later.
Okay, good. Good, because I know that's what people tune in for.
Yeah.
Anyway, news. So, couple of Batman the Animated Series and the new Batman Adventures related pieces of news.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if you like buying action figures. So the first one, Todd McFarlane strikes again.
Toddy
Mac, the Todd father. But okay, so Todd McFarlane is continuing his assault on my wallet by re-releasing more of the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series figures. This time it's the new Batman Adventures line. He's releasing 3 figures. So the first one, which I thought was a bit cheeky, is a New Adventures Batman, but he's got a blue cape rather than a black cape. That seems to be the only difference. It is like those old Kenner toys where
Did you order that one?
I haven't yet, no. But by the time this podcast goes out, I might have done.
Is that the one with the old school packaging?
No,
Oh,
it's not.
okay.
But also as part of the line, it's a new Batman Adventures Riddler. And also a new Batman Adventures Scarecrow.
So you say, but you're still going to order it, right?
Yes, probably. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a problem.
There's a nail polish I found on Pinterest earlier this morning. I like the Twilight movies. I didn't know this brand name Essence made made a nail polish for Twilight Eclipse. It's gonna be on my hyperfixation on finding that. So that kind of reminds me of that.
So the next bit of news. So this is kind of following on from what you said about the retro packaging. So Mezco have opened up pre-orders for their second wave of Batman the Animated Series 5-inch figures. I think they're 5-inch or they're 5-point of articulation figures. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're slightly smaller. But this wave includes Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, Two-Face, the orange parachute Batman, and Batman on a Batbike.
So when you order these, you're obviously going to order 2 of those, correct? The parachute Batmans.
I hadn't thought about that, but I suppose I could.
Well, you have to open one of them.
Yeah.
Did you open your first one?
I did, yes, and I regret it. I regret it dearly.
This is why with things like that, you buy 2 of them.
Yeah, well, you're enabling. Here we've got the evidence. Next time she complains about me ordering stuff, Big Mikey P, remind her of this. Timestamp it.
And Big Mikey P, you also remember this. I have found some vintage Barbies. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'm not going to buy them, but I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, but Mezco's first wave of figures has only just come out, I think now. I got a shipping notification last week. Haven't arrived yet. Maybe they will by the time the podcast goes out.
States?
Yeah, they go from the States.
Yeah.
But their first wave had Batman, Robin, Catwoman, Joker, and a Batmobile. And they've got that beautiful retro packaging like the old Kenner figures had, and they're just wonderful. They make me weep with joy whenever I see them.
Yes. I say this because I sometimes walk into Luke's office and I'm like, "Oh, are you okay?" He's just weeping, saying, "They've done it, my dream." I'm joking. He doesn't. Well, if they like had every character and everything, and it was all signed by like the creators and everything, you guys would probably hear him weep as well.
Oh, finally, a Leslie Tompkins action figure with Rupert Thorne and Matthew Thorne. Oh.
Yeah, and he would not be ashamed of it.
No,
You shouldn't be ashamed if you weep over things like that because it's really freaking cool. What? So we saw something really cool, or you saw something really cool, and then you posted it on your Instagram. I'm not plugging the Instagram, but if you guys want to follow him, it's Serum Lake.
Surprise.
Yeah, I guess I did plug it in the end. But yeah, the Clayface one. Who's doing that one?
That one's Mondo. So
Mondo.
this one, the final little piece of action figure related news there is some images of the Mondo Clayface action figure have now started coming online. It's going to be available for pre-order in Q1 of 2025, and I assume they mean calendar year Q1, so sort of January, February, March, not financial year Q1, which is what, April, May, June. Either way, within the next 6 months, it's going to be available to order, and it is absolutely massive. So it's got an accessory on the chest, which is basically Batman's head, like trying to force his way out.
That's what I was talking
Yeah.
about.
If that is to scale with the other Mondo Batman figures, which are a foot tall, this Clayface is going to be absolutely massive.
How much do those usually range?
In terms of cost,
Yeah.
about $200.
But they're significant.
They
Like,
are,
as in,
yes.
they're not just hollowed plastic.
Mm.
They're quite significant.
Yes, and this one comes with a ton of other accessories like lobster hands and brick hands and a claw hand, and it's got a head with the back grapple being shot out of it, and he's like wincing in pain. He's got a smiling head. There's also like a puddle version of him, like in Feet of Clay Part 2 when he jumped off the hospital roof and landed and went splat. There's a version of him like that as well.
Have they done a Two-Face one?
No, they haven't. I'm still waiting.
No. When are you going to do that?
Yeah. It should come with Harvey Dent as well.
So it's now nearly 8 minutes, and we haven't talked about the main topic of our show yet.
Okay, let's move on. Stop talking about, what did someone call it? Plastic BS.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. Because if here I am. I'm already here. Hi. Welcome to my TED Talk. If something makes you happy and it's not hurting anybody else and it's not putting you in financial ruin,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
none of that is happening to us. He's obviously joking. But if it's not hurting anyone, putting you through financial ruin, and it's not hurting yourself, then what is the point of people bitching and moaning that you're getting something that happens to be plastic or a statue or a book or something like that? If it makes you freaking happy and you can afford it, or if you need to save up for it and then you can afford it, get it! Because we don't have enough joy in our life as it is. And if it brings you joy, go for it. Oh, I should also add, you need to have the room for it in your home as well. But there's a person that commented on one of Luke's videos, or was it one of your community posts?
It depends on which one you're referring to.
That was just not happy about something, and they were like, "Oh, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about something being like 40-something-year-old buying something or 30-something-year-old buying something.
It was something along the lines of, I'm a grown man, I don't
Yeah.
need to validate myself.
Oh, yes.
I'm just like, what the hell, dude?
It's like, excuse me? You want to know something? I'm going to add to this. I am currently looking on Vinted. There are a few people selling the old school 90s Barbies, from the McDonald's toys. The plastic ones, the hollow plastic ones that were mass produced for McDonald's. I am looking to buy those. I wonder if this man would have a problem with me doing that. By the way, I'm 36 years old. Is that like the second time I've actually admitted my age on here?
At least.
Yeah. And I want to buy things. And tomorrow, I'm going to go see a Barbie thing at the museum. An exhibition.
Spoilers.
Okay. So now that I've said that you can buy anything you want and enjoy it, let's talk about Friendsgiving and who we would invite. So, I am obviously American. Well, actually, I don't know if it's obvious because Canadians and Americans have similar accents. So, I'm American. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. MWC, if you want to get specific. Uh, Midwest City, Oklahoma. So, I am as Midwestern and as Southern as they come. I am the best of both worlds. And we take Thanksgiving, if there's any holiday in the world that Oklahomans take seriously, it's Thanksgiving. And we don't do the whole the pilgrims did this, this, and this because we know the truth. What we do is we celebrate it with food. And we invite people over and we make sure they leave with a tummy ache and a pie to take home. So I would like to do that with some cartoon characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I have compiled a list. I don't know how many people I did. I forgot how many, but it's a lot. I did give a number of how many we would be doing when we first talked about it, but I went over that as you do at Thanksgiving because there's a lot of people. The whole thing about Thanksgiving is you're gonna have some strays as well. Like because people, even if you didn't say that they could bring a plus one or whatever, they're gonna bring a plus one, and then it's gonna be like, yeah, 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 okay, I've got enough food because you got an amount, you double it. That's Thanksgiving. You gotta have leftovers, your turkey and mustard sandwiches. So that's what we've done. And I've just mumbled a lot.
No, you've explained it very
Yeah.
clearly. Provided the background. When I posted on made a community post talking about this episode, I did have someone going, "They don't do Thanksgiving in the UK. Why are you talking about Thanksgiving?" I'm like, well, you've outed yourself as someone that doesn't listen to Totally Schway because
Fake fan.
Mary is American.
Fake fan.
Yeah.
Fake
Hashtag.
fan.
I nearly swore then.
Fake fan. Hashtag JLass. Hashtag JLass. Which, by the way, a lot of the original members of JLass are going to be here. So do you want to get started with yours or?
Yeah. Okay. So the first person I wrote down is if you want to make sure that everything runs on time and runs smoothly with no mess ups, like you don't want you don't want like the turkey being done hours.
The guest. They're
Yeah, I
not
know,
cooking
but
though.
he's gonna come and he's gonna make sure that everything is run efficiently.
Oh, I like that. As long as he's not pushing me to do something.
He is a bit pushy. He is. Let's be honest. He is very pushy. But he's going to make sure that everything runs smoothly, everything runs perfectly, like clockwork, if you will.
Yeah, and this is also starting off. By the way, we don't know who we picked. By the way, I don't know what Luke picked, and he doesn't know who I picked. This is also starting out because I'm assuming I'm going to be cooking most of it, and you're going to be cooking most of it, or some of it. We're already going to have family fights.
Oh no, you didn't invite Mayor Hill, did you?
No.
That's fine because my first guest is Temple Fugit, the Clock King.
Mm.
I know you probably don't think it's a good idea to invite villains, but I thought so long as we didn't invite Mayor Hill.
Who said anything about me not liking villains?
Well, so long as we didn't invite Mayor Hill, everything would be fine. He would just come in, he'd be like, right, the turkey needs to go in at precisely 11:47.
I have actually just seen.
She just looked at my list.
Yeah, because it's written down now, but beforehand we haven't told each other. I have just seen that both of our number 2 is the same, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. Alfred.
Yeah, of course. Alfred needs to come, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I put down reasons or a reason. He needs a break.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
He's not going to be doing any of the cooking.
Absolutely not.
That's why the Clock King's coming. The Clock King is going to make sure everything is run properly. Alfred is going to sit down, put his feet up, relax, and just enjoy himself.
Yeah, and tell us stories.
Mm-hmm.
He could tell stories like a granddad.
Yes.
Like a granddad, but a really cool hip granddad. And also, if I so happen to, probably I will put a stain on my white shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I will be like, oh, just casually at the dinner, like, I have this stain from the gravy on my shirt. I just don't know how to get this out.
2 seconds, he'd whipped it off,
yeah,
stain out, and he'd have it back. Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go on to another one if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Vixen.
That's interesting that you choose someone with animal powers to come and eat animals.
I don't eat that many animals, and I have a lot of stuff with just veggies.
I don't think Vixen is vegetarian, actually.
No, I don't think so either. Which is why I was like, huh?
I don't think she would ever be like, I summon the power of turkey.
Yeah,
I'm
but
mixing her up with Marshall Bravestar for some reason.
my reason is because of all of the awesome stories about her job.
Mhm.
I should say jobs, because obviously she's part of the Justice League and she is a fashion model. And she could also tell us about Anna Wintour.
Mhm.
And I just think that'd be really cool. And out of a lot of the people, or out of all of the people that I picked, I think she would be like the most like vivacious and not necessarily like over talk you or whatever, but she would add so much to the conversation. Whereas some of the guests that I've added will take over the
Mhm.
conversation.
Mhm.
So who's your second?
You need to flip the page over for me so I can see good. So I know we've got some crossover. So, okay, another one that's crossover.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon. I know he's on your list as well.
Yes, he is. So what's your
Well, no, why
reason?
don't you share your reason?
Because we all need a good dad joke at Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
And Commissioner Gordon is just cool.
And also, he's going to enforce order. He's going to make sure there's no shenanigans.
He is the only one that I have allowed
To bring a gun to the...
No, there will be no guns at my Thanksgiving. He is the only one that I have allowed to bring a +1.
Yeah, you probably just bring Barbara.
I know. And that I said on my actual notes that I have on the computer, I put Renee or Montoya.
Renee or Montoya.
Not Renee or Montoya. Why did I say Renee Montoya? Montoya or Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, by the way, the name of my hue light.
Mm-hmm.
One of my hue lights. What is your reason?
Well, I just said he will enforce order. He'll make sure that there's no shenanigans going on. Everything will run smoothly. You can see with my guests, I've kind of thought about to make sure that it's not a disaster. We need to have certain people like the Clock King, like Commissioner Gordon. I suppose Alfred is there as well in some form of orderly reason. Why don't you tell us someone else from your list?
You could say another one on your list.
Okay.
'Cause we'll go like
well, all right, fine. So I actually, can I just say these two together? Bullock and Montoya. Because
can you have one without the other?
well, yes, you can, but in the world of the DC animated universe, they are a good pairing.
Yeah.
And Bullock will be there to make sure that everything gets eaten.
Obviously.
There will be no like completely untouched dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will be touched by Bullock. And Montoya, she's there just because she's a decent person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very by the book. Very orderly.
Yeah.
You notice I'm really trying to avoid like chaos and clashing personalities.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're gonna do two,
Go on then.
I'm gonna do two. I'm going to do Ace the Bat Hound and Bruce Wayne. Ace the Bat Hound because do we obviously need to say anything else about that? And yes, he will have his own seat at the table, and it will be at the head of the table. I
can see it now.
Yeah. Right next to Gilgamesh, because I think they'd be great best friends. And Bruce Wayne, because he is Batman, and also because Alfred might need a ride to the party.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And in this scenario, Ace and Alfred are alive together.
Yes. And I suppose Bruce Wayne will make sure that he brings something classy to the dinner table.
I didn't ask anyone to bring anything.
Yeah, but people tend to bring stuff to Thanksgiving.
I don't need his billionaire money.
It's not his money he's bringing. He's just bought some nice drinks or beverages for everyone to enjoy.
And you know what? I'll be like, Bats, because obviously I'd call them Bats. Even if everybody... No, I think everybody there would know, except for, Bullock and Renee.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, Bats, listen up. You're not going to act like this, like bachelor playboy here, because there's nobody here that's going to take that today. You act like your miserable self. You be the miserable one here this year, okay? That is your job.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else, I think, would be a lot less miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, that is yours. This is your key role this year on Friendsgiving. And we don't do any of this carb counting. You're looking out for your waist type stuff because you're gonna leave here 5 pounds heavier than you came here, because that is life at the Mears household Friendsgiving. And if you have pets, they will leave, or they you will not leave without a doggy bag or kitty bag.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to go next?
Yeah, so my next pick was Francine Langstrom, but not Kirk Langstrom. Francine needs a night away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't have him
And
turning
like I
into
said,
a
no
bat.
plus one other
Yeah.
than Kamish.
Yeah. So she's coming over to kind of even out the gender balance, because you don't want it to be too masculine. You just want a nice balance between the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she's a very educated woman. I'm sure she'll have wonderful, insightful conversation, even if it's just about bats. I'm sure Batman will be very interested to listen.
We love bats in the Mears household. We love bats. And it's not even just like because of Batman. It's just we love bats. Have you ever seen how cute a bat is eating a little piece of watermelon?
Yes.
What about a big piece of watermelon?
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yes, we saw them at the London Zoo, didn't we, in the
Yeah.
bat enclosure?
Beautiful.
Who is your next pick?
I want to say Wonder Woman. And I have one word, obviously. No, I think some tales of the mascara and just being like the person that, well, there's going to be two ladies that I have on here that are just not going to take your BS. Not yours,
Well,
but like
specifically mine.
anybody's BS. And they're going to be like, listen to me. You're blah, 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 blah. And then Wonder Woman's going to come in and be like, well, actually, no. And then I'm going to be like, so your role at this Thanksgiving is going to be the older sister that moved away when she was really young, and she went and focused on her art degree. And her art degree, by the way, is her superhero thing. That's what we're doing,
Oh, I see.
the quote unquote.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's also cool. I'll do another one.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay. Uh We've already done Commish, Ace the Bat Hound, Wonder Woman. Saving that one for last. Maybe another crossover.
This is a crossover, so
Yeah.
this one is on my list as well.
There is a theme to mine, is great storytelling, because I like hearing about other people's lives, because sometimes when I get around other human beings, I talk too much, and I hate that about myself. So I want to hear other people talk. And I would like Lois Lane to come to the party.
Well, yeah, I thought she would be a good guest as well, just for conversation.
Yeah,
And
that's what I said.
yeah.
Great stories.
Yeah. And it's important that you have people that are able to keep the banter going, and keep the conversation flowing.
Wonder Woman and Vixen, but the three of them, yes, I'd just sit there, watch and listen, like yes, yes, queens, and I would love it. Like I could have just a dinner with them, and just love it because of the great. It would just be great. You could write a book about the conversations. Like this was the iconic moment when the three queens met and history was made. What, do I have a title for that book yet? No. Give me 5 minutes. Who's your next person?
I'm gonna say Baby Doll.
Oh, I wasn't pointing at them.
No, you weren't. It's fine. But I picked Mary Doll, Baby Doll, because someone like her who feels very isolated and abnormal will probably feel very lonely during the holiday season. So it's important to invite her to participate in social events so that she feels less alone.
and coming over to the Mears household with me in it, she gonna feel normal. She's gonna feel normal. She, some of the stories from my childhood, she is gonna feel normal. She is gonna feel good about herself, and she doesn't have to act like what the world wants her to see. She only has to be who she wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if she wants to be baby doll, great. If she wants to be Mary, great. Other than that would get kind of confusing.
Yeah, I would have to say
Mary Sue or just
but you got baby doll. And that also sounds a bit weird,
yeah,
though, doesn't it?
that's too affectionate.
Yeah.
Because you and I don't have like pet. Well, we don't have pet names. I call you Bug sometimes, but that's just like
Do you?
yeah.
Oh.
I haven't done it in a long time because I like called Love Bug or something or Love, just because I like that. But when I talk about you to other people, I say Bug.
Oh.
Yeah, like because it's like Love Bug, and I don't like saying Love Bug.
Because of my external shell and wings, right?
No, it's because you bug the shit out of me. No, it's the form of Love Bug. Anyway, you've just gone. I'll go. I think I've said more people than you, but I do have
You
more
haven't.
people on my list. So I have two people left, and one of them is the Flash. I know most of the dinner budget will be spent on this fella, but he could be the comic of the party, and that will be his role.
Mm-hmm. He'll be in competition with Bullock to see who can eat the most.
Yes, and I will send out um as I'm sending out the invitations, I will be sending out whose role is what. And if they cannot do that, I will tell them that they can be replaced.
Mm.
If they don't want to do that, they can still come to the party, but playing that miserable Batman, Bruce would have to just be a regular person, which I don't think he's capable. But yeah, the Flash. I just think obviously other than like the the comic stuff is also just I think Flash is kind of one of the I'm not gonna say normal because I'm not really when people describe other people like that I don't like using that word, but he's just like your everyday person. Like his superpower is that he's really fast. And he has seen stuff that a lot of us non-powerful people haven't seen, and it would be nice to have someone who wasn't born with that talk about it as well. Because there's other people that weren't born with it, but it would just be nice to have his experiences talked about.
I think his main contribution would be lightening the mood as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, maybe some of my guests and attendees are perhaps a little, not highbrow, but perhaps not quite so humorous. You do need a little bit of it.
They're the type of people that I want to be, but when I go to a party, I am never that person. Like, I would love to have, like, a Lois Lane or, like, a Vixen. I would love to be able to speak to them at the party, but one, I would never actually have the guts to go and talk to those people. Or if I actually did have the guts to do that, I always feel kind of less than when I'm talking to them. Not that they automatically make me feel that way, but it's just I don't feel confident like those characters do.
I see.
Yeah. I'd be like, I had I have fingernails.
Good day.
I've not traveled the world very much. Hi. Hi, exits. That's literally me. So who's your next person?
Zatanna. For a similar reason to the Flash, and also to add some brevity to the group, because let's say conversation ran dry, she could at least pull a rabbit out of the hat and turn things around.
Yeah. And Zatanna would just another thing would be it would just be so cool for her, like if we showed her like Chris Angel. Do you guys remember that? Chris Angel Mind Freak? Or like David Blaine. I'd be like, so what's the trick here? Tell me the trick. She'd be able to say what they did to get to there. Or she could say, oh, they're actually magic. She wouldn't, but that would be awesome. I think.
Yeah. So who's your next one?
Oh, you have more people.
I've got one more, and you've got one more.
Do you? Do
Yeah,
we? Yeah, yeah.
that's my one.
So, my last person, I I know that I said Kamish was the only person that I was giving a +1, but with this person, I'm not sure if their so-called significant other would come or not, depending on what cartoon you watch. Harley Quinn. And the reason I did this is because you could get there's two different things you could do here. So if she came as Harley, free therapy. Yeah, free therapy. If she came as Harley, which is most likely, she could be that person that just, whenever you feel out of place, you know, that person that just comes along and just says like, snickerdoodles, or something like that, just like so random and whatever, and it just makes you feel better because you were that person.
So you're saying she's going to bring an element of chaos to the party
Yes.
that I'm desperately trying to push down by having people like Commissioner Gordon and the Clock King there.
There Okay, so here's the thing about a Thanksgiving or a Friendsgiving. You cannot have one of those without chaos. Somebody needs to, okay, there's a couple scenarios here. Somebody either needs to end up in the emergency room because they overate to the point that their gut's gonna explode. Somebody accidentally lit fireworks because they were smoking a cigarette in the garage and they didn't realize the old fireworks were there. Or you have a family falling out that everybody completely forgets about until Christmas. Whether they're invited to the Christmas party or not, they'll still show up. So, emergency room, family fallout. Harley could potentially do both. And I love that. And Ivy might show up, or Joker might show up. Who knows? Either of them would be accepted at the door, but a toll would have to be paid. And I will start accepting the first Christmas jokes to get into my household. And if it's not good enough, I'll be like, go to John Lewis and get you some Christmas crackers and try again. And that's I would be very serious. By the way, John Lewis is like it's like JCPenney. And they sell loads of stuff. So who is your last person?
Well, my next one is Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay.
Martian Manhunter, similar reason to Baby Doll, and also as we saw in the Justice League hashtag JLS episode, JLS. Comfort and Joy. Superman thought we didn't invite Superman. Uh-oh. And he'll know.
What best person?
Yeah. But anyway, Martian Manhunter shouldn't be spending the festive holiday period on his own. So he's coming to the party as well, so he doesn't feel isolated and alone.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, Superman can come. Superman goes wherever he wants to.
He's got an open invitation. He's got, like, he can come around anytime. And also, I think our cats would love Martian Manhunter.
Well, one of them.
No one else. Our cats, by the way, don't like people. They like Luke. One of them likes me. No, they all like me, but one of them gives me cuddles. But I think Jean would be the exception, especially with Gilly. Gilly would be like, "Hurrah!"
Yes, he would.
Yes, he says hello to us in the evening. I'm gonna record that one day. So, do you have any more people?
There is one final person that we both wrote down on the list there.
That was yours.
That one was mine.
Wrote that down because I asked you like.
And yet it's on your list.
Yeah, but this is my part, and that was supposed to be your part.
All right. Well, the final person that we would invite, because any meal always needs its sauces. The person that would make sure we had enough sauce is the Condiment King.
Yes. Do you think he has cranberry sauce?
Of course.
Let me think of another sauce. I don't we'll talk about like the stuff that we like to eat after this, but I don't know. Oh, gravy.
Of course.
Yeah.
He'll,
Mustard.
yeah, of course. He's got a mustard gun and a
But
ketchup
it
gun.
has to be French's mustard. It can't be that,
It's
other one.
probably a mustard of his own blend, which is probably nicer.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
He would also have mint sauce, which is a very rare thing. I don't think a lot of Americans have that.
Mint sauce.
Yeah, it's usually have
I
it
know
with
what mint
lamb.
sauce is, but it's like that's more of a Christmas thing.
Is it? Well, he'd have it anyway. He'd
Okay.
have absolutely everything.
So that's our guest list. Let's talk about some food.
Oh, okay.
So what's the first thing? Well, we took our turkey. Our Luke took the turkey out today to start defrosting.
Yeah, I should say as well that I mentioned this earlier. Thanksgiving isn't a thing in the UK for American folks,
Mhm.
but obviously Mary's American, so we kind of do our own little thing.
Yeah,
Um,
just the two of us.
and three cats.
Yeah, it's true because we got a bigger turkey this year, so we could share it with one of the cats.
We actually looked at turkeys, and there was one that said it serves like 4 to 6 people, and you're like, it's just not enough for the two of us. So we got the 8 to 10 people type
Here's the
turkey.
thing: you need to explain this
Yeah,
because it makes
because
me sound like a fat ass.
no, it
No,
would be me,
you
but
need to explain a little bit more because I love.
leftovers.
Yes. I mentioned this earlier, but I love like one of my favorite things to have are turkey and mustard sandwiches. And I love that. And I there was one Thanksgiving where my grandmother cooked this huge Thanksgiving dinner and we had I think I was about 13 years old. Loads of people showed up. It was like in the 30 mark, I would say. About 30 people showed up because friends and family showed up. Yeah, you had the Runaways, the Strays, all of them showed up as well. And I went to the cinema all by myself after dinner, which was actually about I would say about 1. I didn't get back from the cinema or back from the mall slash cinema until about 9 p.m. because I don't like being around a lot of people that I don't know. And with the Strays and Runaways, there's a lot of people that I don't know. And when I got back, I said, I am going to have a turkey and mustard sandwich. And I said this to the person who, by the way, was my grandmother that picked me up from the mall. And she could have told me on the way home that there was no turkey. There was no turkey left. And I was pissed because I was like, this is ruined. This holiday is ruined. She was like, oh, but all of the people came over. I was like, I don't care. I want a sandwich. And she was like, well, why don't you just have a ham and cheese one? I was like, no.
On Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
I probably said something like that. I was like, this is not happening. Um, I think I ended up eating spaghetti and meatballs or something.
The most traditional
Yeah,
of
just because it
Thanksgiving
was in the
dishes.
fridge. I was just pissed. I anger ate. I was like, yeah, and I said never again will this happen to me,
Mhm,
and that's why we bought a little bit of a bigger turkey this year,
mhm.
and the cats, but mainly because I am not gonna feel that way again about the sandwich.
No.
Uh, it's not gonna be a big Thanksgiving. I think we'll have some mac and cheese without the crumb coat because I know a lot of people like that, but I'm not the biggest fan of crumb coat. I'm also a diabetic, so we'll save things where we can in terms of carbs. Um, Potatoes, obviously veg. Are you gonna do sprouts?
No.
No, that's not really a. I don't. In my family, we did green bean casserole.
Okay, well we can do that. We've still got some mushroom soup you can use with that.
Yeah. Carrots. Like honey mustard carrots. Um, I can't well, I can remember like what we ate, but I can't remember what you and I said we were gonna have. But it's not gonna be like a huge ordeal because I'm gonna cook a Christmas dinner this year for you and your family. Or we are gonna cook a Christmas dinner. So I think that's gonna be where the bigger thing is. What else am I there was something else.
You-
Obviously celery,
you
because
got-
I love celery is one of my favorite foods.
You're forgetting the desserts.
I haven't decided that because we're going to go to Costco, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were going on Friday.
We could go before.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just thinking because they'll have pies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could cook. I was gonna try to cook a crustless pumpkin pie, but we'll go to Costco and see. And if not, I'll just cook that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that. The Christmas dinner. Y'all, when y'all hear about the Christmas dinner, it's gonna be good. We can't do pigs and blankets this year because I stopped eating pork.
Mm-hmm.
But we can.
For the Americans, pigs in blankets are not sausages wrapped in crescent rolls, as you call them, croissant.
Croissant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a pork sausage wrapped in bacon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a proper pig in blanket.
Yeah. I stopped eating pork this year.
Yeah.
Last year, was it last year I stopped eating beef?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And you don't eat duck and you don't eat lamb
or rabbit.
or rabbit.
There's reasons I don't eat rabbit and duck.
Yeah. So we're down to chicken and turkey now.
Yeah. And tuna.
Oh yeah, and well, I don't know if I count that, but okay, fair enough.
I don't like a lot of other fish because I come from a landlocked place.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we get to the comments?
Yes, we shall. And just one thing I wanted to address is that Mary and I recorded this Thanksgiving section earlier in the week with the aim of recording the comments afterwards to be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the time since then, I've come down with the flu, and you can probably hear it in my voice. And we're recording this at very last minute, and all my dreams and ambitions of producing lots of content and getting ahead of schedule have been dashed. So if I sound depressed, that's why.
For someone who used to not get sick very much, in your adulthood, you are, every chance you could get a cold, you do.
Yeah, it's not my choice, I promise.
That's okay.
Okay, so let's get to the first comment. Harry Flew says, who agrees that Batman and Superman are the Woody and Buzz of DC? I swear, whenever I hear Dr. Phibes, I think of the villain from Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. That was probably a direct reference. I'm not familiar with that one, but I bet it is. I grew up with that show, and although it's not my favourite iteration of Scooby-Doo, that would be Mystery Incorporated, Phibes is a hilariously iconic baddie and feels like Dr. Doofenshmirtz before Dr. Schoofensmertz. He's a weirdly underrated character. I know Luke is going to be triggered by the mention of Scooby-Doo, lol. Yep, that's right. Despair, anger.
If you think Luke is triggered. I think I've talked about this before, but my cousins, my favorite cousins, the twins, would watch Scooby-Doo with their mom and their little sister all of the time. And when I say all of the time, it was either Scooby-Doo or Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, Scooby-Doo would win because all of them liked it. But oh my freaking Lord, I am done with anything Scooby-Doo until they come out with Barbie Scooby-Doo, and then I'm sorry, I have to take back these comments. Unless they hire me as a voice actress, which would be the spookiest thing of all.
So to conclude Harry's comment, he says, I hope he feels better soon. Yeah, it's really irritating that I had COVID about a month ago. Then I've got nasty flu. It's just, I'm very unhappy. Anyway.
I don't know who gave you COVID.
Yeah, I don't know who had it first.
No, don't know.
Have a great week, you two. Well, we did our best.
You too. I've had a lousy week, but things are getting better, and Advent season is coming. I wish I had some cool theme tune to that.
Okay, so the next comment is from Darius Explains. Hello, Darius, who says, Batman, remember the time Batman squared up with Darkseid and threatened to blow up Apocalypse? I think that was in, what was it, the Batman Superman direct-to-DVD movie. I think it was, the one with Supergirl. I forget what that one was called.
We love Supergirl in this household.
Next we have, I can't pronounce their name because they've written what, to my eyes, it looks like Greek characters. I could be mistaken, but it looks like Aaeeanapa. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that.
Hello.
Hello, but he's written a flurry of comments.
Nice.
Says, my answer is both are great detectives. Superman has a photographic memory. No, Lois is not Superman and DC gave her powers twice. This year is the second time. Lois is not better than Clark in anything. The late Mr. Kent proved that. Superman is telepathic, actually, especially with other Kryptonians. Why is it considered cheating when he uses his ability? Lois really is not better than Superman. She believed Walker was guilty just like everyone else.
I respectfully disagree with you.
When was the last time the big bad bat admitted that he made a mistake?
I was expecting you to give like an episode, date, and time that it was done.
Yeah.
I disagree with him being... I disagree with them saying that Lois isn't better than Clark, because Lois is better than everybody.
Says, I'm more Bruce than Clark. And then Lois, since her creation in 1938, likes power, wealth, and social status. Superman has power. Bruce Wayne has wealth and social status. She is just like the majority of the human race, egocentric and shallow, and no, I'm not projecting.
Hey! Don't you talk about Lois like that. She deserves everything she gets. Everything that is good. She doesn't deserve bad things. I'll have no Lois slander on this podcast.
She sees Clark as just a friend, and that's okay. Clark and Lois don't need to be together in any Earth, you know. Clark is great with computers, actually, because he is, after all, from a Kryptonian ancestry, a civilization that dwarfs human civilization.
Oh, true. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, but he has no experience of Krypton. But I guess, he is reasonably good with computers, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing in there to suggest that he doesn't know how computers work, and I apologise if we gave that impression.
I just feel that... I think it's just because I'm biased, because I love Lois so much, and I think she is an icon, and nobody is better than her.
Yeah, no one besmirched Dana Delaney in this household.
I know. Who was the best part of Desperate Housewives?
Dana Delaney.
Absolutely.
All right, next we have Lowell Lucas Jr., who says, out today, it's totally Schway, soaring again on an epic Sunday. Sees the day. Oh, Mondo Toys, always tempted me to spend my savings on your wonderful toys. Savings? What are savings? Honestly, if Harley Quinn isn't my first choice, it's going to be Rogue. Then again, Man, Bat, Terry and the Phantasm are now plaguing my dreams. For Bruce versus Clark as detective, I'll divide into categories. In terms of disguises, many have to side with Kent. Anytime Bruce disguises himself as Matches Malone, he's always found out by hoods and quickly knocked out, while Clark only has to remove his glasses and people will still find it unbelievable. In terms of interrogation, it goes to Bruce, despite Superman being able to rip a man in half like a phone book. More people fear a man who can drop you off a skyscraper by your ankles. Hell, even old man Bruce only used a cane to make a Joker spill his guts, even wetting the bed until he was 14. No way Supes could do that. Even Deadshot couldn't take Clark seriously, with the exception to Batman offering him a donut. It's chocolate. In short, Clark is an alien country boy who is more human than the rich man with a witty butler. Guess it goes to Lois Lane, who has both men wrapped around her index finger. She's got the brains and the muscle to back it up. To the commenter who had eye surgery, I feel your pain, my brother. It's very difficult. It's very painful, and I'm still recovering myself. Sorry, I'm struggling with my words today. I say take your time to recover, and always take your meds.
Don't think just because you think you feel better does not mean your body is finished healing. Because somebody I know does that, and he ends up getting sick a lot.
Testify.
But when if you're taking antibiotics or anything like that, please just run the course if your doctor wants you to, because it doesn't matter if you feel better. Your body needs to heal. Rest, relax if you can, and watch lots of bad things.
You just read Lowell Lucas Jr.
Oh, that's not what he said.
He says, you can still enjoy comics and favourite 90s shows, but just let your eye rest when you can. I'm here for your brother. Stay strong. Yeah. Lastly, to Mary, aside from Mickey P, I've seen all of Sailor Moon's original 90s series and movies. They are still beautiful and wonderful to watch. Just be aware there's two dubs. One from Deke. I know who Deke are. I remember watching Deke cartoons. It always used to make me laugh. At the end, you'd hear a little kid go, Deke. Anyway. And the others... Viz. Personally, I love the Deke version, despite its censorship, while Viz is completely uncut. Otherwise, just watch it subs.
I have no idea how I've not watched a ton of Sailor Moon. I would like to eventually, but I want to find the one that's right for me, where I don't have to watch like 1,000 episodes. But I do not remember exactly how I was introduced to Sailor Moon, but I just remember loving the style of the cartoon for a couple of months when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So it must have been on a TV show or a channel or something. If anybody could remember that's around my age, which is a perpetual 25, please tell me what channel it was on. Unless my brother rented it. He might have rented it.
So just to conclude the comment, as for one season anime recommendations, try 1997 Berserk TV series, Eska Flauner, oh god, Tenchi Muyo Universe TV series, Claymore series, Raxophon, Black Lagoon, Witchblade, or Shield Hero. There's much more like Neon Genesis Evangelion, but that one you got to watch the original ADV dub, not the Netflix one. If you need any more recommendations, let me know, or Big Mikey P.
Yeah, y'all need to give me the recommendations, and none of this dubbed stuff for me, unless it is really funny. But I like to, I'm a subtitles gal.
I own and reviewed quite a bit, and I know Mikey's seen a lot too.
Yeah. Two of my favorite people.
Oh no, speak of the devil and he appears. What have you done, Lowell Lucas Jr.?
You know what? Can I say something? No, I don't need to ask to say something because it's here. I have been thinking about Big Mikey P a lot lately. And I don't know why.
He haunts your dreams.
No, he doesn't haunt my dreams. It's good thoughts.
10,000 words!
No, I think it's because I've been reading other people's comments on different channels. Not on my own channel, but on different channels. And I have a true love for the people that comment on our stuff because they actually are talking to us and stuff like that, and it's so lovely, and people like Mikey, the time that you have given us, it's incredible, and don't let anyone else tell you that, joking or not.
As I said
but
last
who
time.
I'm talking about is Luke. Don't let I was gonna say juke again, like jukebox. Because I was going to say, just you listen to me. And then Luke came out of my mouth and it came out as juke. Just you listen to me, Luke. Don't you be talking about my Big Mikey P.
All right, well, after spending 10 minutes talking about his comment without actually reading it, I'm going to read it now. Yeah. So Big Mikey P, Michael Andre Parlon says, if only Batman doesn't have more great movies, TV series and video games than Superman and even Wonder Woman does. Oh, and if only Batsy also didn't have awesome gadgets and the occasional exoskeleton batsuit variants. He loves that. I'm surprised he didn't mention the retractable wingsuit or whatever.
Retractable wings.
Yeah, DCAU Superman doesn't have cold breath powers, though that got a sly reference in Starcrossed. 20 minutes and 34 seconds. Such is being properly paranoid, if not superbly pragmatic to a fault or two. Yes, if I were a Batman type of character, I'll readily trust magical girls. How did I know that was coming? But I'll still prepare contingencies in case they go rogue. Or I'll be doing a willfully sanctioned civil war scenario against them. And believe me, I'll enjoy fighting the hopefully rattled good gal simply because it beats boredom. And battling those same old obviously evil muggle terrorists and Zeroth law malfunctioning robots, I guess. Yes, I'll still admire the T-65 X-Wing craft, but I'd rather... Oh, God. Okay, let me compose myself.
We love.
But I'd rather phase them out over time and replace them with far superior Zarin design TIE Defenders and Legacy era X-83 Twin Tails. Yes, spandex is good enough superhero outfit material, but come on. Nanosuits and armor-plated yet finesse-intended combat suits are more the rage for many better reasons. Yes, World War II was quite a brutal conflict.
I'd say it was.
But we got out of a worse Great Depression, ended up having smartphones that put Star Trek's communicators to shame. Remind me to thank my great-grandfather for his service in World War II to get me this smartphone from which I am reading these comments.
Word.
I'm sorry, he's dead. I can't thank him. I've lost my place. Oh, and putting men on the moon as a result. So it's not supposed to be a completely hated conflict in hindsight. Need I say more? No, you do not.
Say more.
2145. Probably 0. But mostly because I don't think I've ever completely binged an OG Sailor Moon anime season, even after all those prior younger years. Again, that show is easily eclipsed by successors and competition like Revolutionary Girl Utena and Cardcaptor Sakura, plus non-magical girl and sometimes niche works like Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and the irresponsible Captain Tylor for me. I really love too many genres in fiction whilst being very picky, do I? Apparently. Wish that I can and you will moment got popular enough to inspire homages, and also parodies in later works of Justice League and Unlimited ended. 3250. Not that it hurts the awesome Kill Bill duology though. It's scathing, but not as dryly scathing as whatever Zack Snyder does things in the DCEU and Sucker Punch. If only Quentin Tarantino isn't a non-fan of Denis Villeneuve's Dune film adaptations, though. 3305 depends on the Batman iteration. For the DCAU it works, and for, say, the Batman 2004, it shouldn't. Spider-Man the Animated Series Man-Spider arc is interesting, but the voice direction and ACOM-ish animation quirks leave it wanting on YouTube rewatchability outside of crude meme humour. I assume that's what you meant by YT. Apologies if I got that wrong. Meanwhile, one can argue that Mighty Max is a kid-friendly take on Stephen King's The Dark Tower book series done right. 52 minutes and 4 seconds. Timestamping. Also finished Vivi. Time really flew by. Good. You're close to saying Kusbar right. I think I just said it in a completely different way. 5836. Should serendipitously answer Mary's question, anime seasons for this podcast? Oh, and Wakarimasu means I understand. And I do blame a talking giraffe for that, yes, really. Christmas is fine by me, Xmas, unless we're talking about later abbreviations, and Michaelmas don't sound right anymore.
That's what we have to tell the distributor of our merch that we can't have Michaelmas now.
Michaelmas is cancelled, everyone.
Damn!
Poor porta potty lass in Doc Widener's newest tale, yes. That was very amusing. That sure is my problem about even the best superhero cartoons. We don't see the rogues galleries out there to get full closure. The DCAU's ventriloquist Mr. Freeze, Lex Luthor and Darkseid, plus Spider-Man, the animated series, Mysterio and The Spot are just exceptions, never the rule. Hideo Kojima may become right, and honestly I think he peaked at Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, so I don't have hopes on his higher than high strangeness takes on Vindicated by History.
Hey! Just like Lois Lane, we will not have Hideo Kojima slander in this household.
Yeah, Death Stranding was oddly compelling for a game that was literally just about walking around in the wilderness and delivering packages. It was basically a pandemic predictor, wasn't it? Everyone was locked in their little bunkers, and Norman Reedus was wandering around delivering stuff to them, keeping a distance.
I just feel like Hideo Kojima is a decent person. Watch him come out as like a big ass or something. I don't know, but for now, my thoughts on him are pure and wonderful. There will be no slander.
Anything else after is just lackluster, if not shark jumping in comparison. So sorry, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and especially Death Stranding. Oh, I just talked about that in a non-negative way. So I guess you won't be pre-ordering Death Stranding 2, Big Mikey P. Also, I'm increasingly of the opinion that Folie à Deux was intentionally made to fail, so to shut up the fools who hungered for an unnecessary sequel to a fine standalone. Yeah, I think that was probably true as well.
Yeah, honestly, I was having a conversation with my best friend last night about this, and I think that as well, because you had all of those like insular people wanting to be like the Joker, but the second movie proved what the Joker was, which is what we all knew, a psychopathical, total word, a psychopath loser.
Yeah, they made it very obvious, and I think that some viewers didn't like having the mirror held up to them. I mean, also it was a deeply uncomfortable and unpleasant film.
Yeah,
and it was intended to be. It wasn't like an accident. Yeah. But anyway, we've talked about this enough.
I still love the soundtrack.
Just to close off, Big Mikey P's comments is addendum. Good grief, we've got an incoherent, if not bloody illiterate spammer commenter for this podcast. Oh no. It's all right, Big Mikey P. Everyone's allowed their opinions. We don't have to agree with them, but they're welcome to share them so long as they are not abusive. Defuxa is next, and he returns with a very brief comment, and I really appreciate that, particularly with my raging sore throat. Anyway, maybe it is because I'm not American, but just having 10 to 15 family members or friends for Thanksgiving seems like a lot.
It is. And I wish I didn't have that many when I was younger. I would have had some peace to watch my really crappy reality TV, which was the only thing on back then. Mm-hmm. But I could have watched it in peace without people just knocking on my door saying, "You should come out! Stop being that way!" It's like I'm being the way that I was intended to be. Alone and comfortable watching Shayna Moakler and Travis Barker on a TV show.
Yeah.
By the way, it really wasn't what I wanted to watch, but it's what was on telly.
Well, 10 is too many in my opinion, but we talked about that already.
Yeah. I just have trauma, sorry.
And Defuxa says, I'm not sure what I would think would double that amount. Shriek.
Therapy. You'll have to spend a lot of time and money on therapy later in life.
Next, we have A1ML33Y, Julia Raoul, who says, I want to say Velma from Scooby-Doo is the world's greatest detective. Blasphemy. But you're welcome to your opinion. It's why Batman, whenever he teamed up with the Scooby-Doo gang, solved mysteries. Velma was the one who always solved the clues. But the older I get, it's like I look at Batman and go, he's a good detective, but he makes mistakes. And Superman, he gets a lot of shit done, mostly because of his pal Jimmy Olsen also helping him solve mysteries and clues. Also, just don't forget Clark and Bruce have super friends. Why do you think they'll meet up at the Hall of Justice? The trouble alarm goes off. What's the wind in Marvin? Were the junior detectives? I think there might be a word missing there. Apologies if I've just misread it weirdly. I kind of wish they were in the DCAU. Oh, the Wonder Twins. Okay, I see what you're talking about. Kind of wish they were in the DCAU, but they weren't, sadly, or the Wonder Twins. But yeah, if you really wanted to get me to watch a Batman animated series, have them team up with Scooby-Doo again. Charming to me, anyways. I recently watched the Batman Brave and the Bold Scooby-Doo team-up thing for some research I was doing in another video. It wasn't terrible by any means, but it's not really to my tastes. But, just because...
Did you watch it in this household?
I did. I watched it in this room.
What?
Yeah, admittedly, the scenes where Batman wasn't in it, I kind of fast-forwarded them, played them on fast motion.
You know what?
Anyway.
Scooby-Doo is not bad. I'm not going to say that. It's just I watched so much of it as a kid because of my cousins that I am done for life. Unless Scooby-Doo teams up with, Henry Cavill Superman.
When I was a child, I always felt like that show was talking down to me because it was the same plot every week. There was no, character development. It was always, ooh, there's a spooky ghost. But then this old guy's told us to stay away from here. Oh, Shaggy and Scooby are scared, but they're also hungry. They're going to eat a massive sandwich. It was the repetition, just constant repetition that did my head in.
I could go for a sandwich at any time.
Anyway, I've talked at length about why I don't really care for Scooby-Doo. Not to take anything away from Julia Roll's comment.
Oh, no, that's cool. That's why I'm trying to say that, because I understand why people love Scooby-Doo so much, but because it was, shoved down my throat so much as a kid, I can't even. So
continuing Julia's comment says, I have a question. Why doesn't DC make good video games like Marvel did in the 90s when they were in partnership with Capcom and making the X-Men fighting games and the stuff for the Super Nintendo? DC always had these ups and downs and stuff that was just focused on Batman, but when it came to other characters, they couldn't get it right. Could you explain to me why DC makes crappy games that are not, about Batman or on the level of Capcom, like Capcom did Marvel, or even the Disney licenses of the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s? I think one of the things that they struggle with DC characters is they're often too powerful. Think about Superman. You can't really have a satisfying Superman game if he can get beaten up by enemies too easily, or the combat's too easy. It's kind of why Superman on the N64 was mostly about flying through rings in a maze with very bad controls.
We could do a whole podcast about Injustice as well.
Yeah, I mean, Injustice is a good game. Yeah. I really like Injustice.
Especially the mobile version.
Yeah, I did like that. I did. But the console one, I've platinumed both of those. And I mean, I know that is very Batman-centric again, but it does give the it does share the spotlight with a lot of other characters, some relatively obscure characters like, God, who was like Atrocitus? He was in Injustice 2, wasn't he? And I suppose you have characters that are well known, but perhaps not as well known in video games, like Blue Beetle or Zatanna. They were very good. Also, if you've never played it, I recommend playing the Batman Brave and the Bold game that was on. I think it was on the Wii.
Yeah,
might have been on the Wii U.
On the Wii, one of the it was the Wii U, because the screen can turn into Batmite or something
like that. Yeah,
it was cute.
We had a lot of fun with that game. It was very much in the vein of the show. So if you have one of those consoles and have access to that game, I recommend giving it a go.
Word.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's basically Batman's just. I think he's more suited to like traditional video game design because he is human, and he has fun gadgets. Characters like Superman, and maybe to a lesser extent Wonder Woman, it's a bit harder to make a fun game because really they're too powerful.
I'm still gonna say Barbie Horseback Riding 2, still one of the best games ever. Which has nothing to do with either of those, but I just want you guys to know the amazingness of that. And I'm going to talk about that one day. My friend Shiva gave me a copy of that.
He did, yes. It was very kind of him.
Yeah.
So to continue Julia's comment, says, and for the record, I'm more of a Velma Dinkley in Batman or Superman fan these days. Also, one of my favourite Superman's super friends is Dan Turpin. He's like my favourite character I like from Superman the Animated Series because of his personality and how he was no nonsense, but also at the same time, you buy your Superman as a friend. It was a shame how he died, and that the character did it to this day. I like whenever I see in the comics, I get excited for him next to Maggie Sawyer. It's funny. I was told that the reason they were able to get away with having Dan Turpin be murdered in Superman is they said to the censors that in a later episode we're going to reveal that he had been teleported somewhere, like Apocalypse. But then Superman ended before they could do that episode, so Dan Turpin is dead. Whoops.
Oopsie daisies.
And Leslie, from a mental health right now, and lastly, from a mental health perspective right now, I'm watching the old 1987's DuckTale cartoon, which was worked on by DCAU superstar Alan Burnett.
Great show. Great show. But the theme tune of that is not allowed. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Because it doesn't stick in your head for like a day. It's 3 months to a year. Ooh. See? It just pops up.
And I'm playing the 1989 video game just to stay sane right now.
Oh, yeah.
I need happier things in my life at the moment. Well, if you haven't played that Brave and the Bold game, play that because it's got a lot of other DC characters in it, like Blue Beetle and Guy Gardner, and I think Hawkman's in it. Aquaman should be in it as well. It's a good fun game.
I want to play that DuckTales game again. I have not played that since I lived... Oh my god, I haven't played that since I was about 6 years old. Yeah.
Right, so the next comment is from David Carney. Hello, David, who says, can't believe it's been 2 years since Kevin Conroy passed away, and now the passing of Tony Todd. I've always thought of Batman and Superman to be like how McGarrett and Dano are in the remake of Hawaii Five-0. Batman does crazy things, and Superman's the voice of reason. Have a good week, both of you.
You too. It's going to be a good week.
Yes. So next we have Scream Wiper. It says, my chicken news edit was too late to make it into the episode. No!
Grrr.
Oh, well, I'll put it here. One day, Wilma made the distress call. It doesn't always mean distress per se, but does always mean, Daddy, come out here, please, quickly. So I go out expecting to chase away some animal like the neighbour's cat. But instead, I find Wilma pointing at, facing and looking at, one of Mabel's garden eggs. She's smart, so it's unsurprising that after over a year of observing me taking the eggs, Wilma figured out that I would want it. What's really cool is that she proved she is loyal enough to me that she wants me to get what I want.
Oh.
She wants me to get the egg. Such a good girl and such a clever girl.
Well, go bye-bye.
So yeah, take that to the hysterical, sanctimonious hippies saying I abuse my hens because I don't have their consent to take their eggs. Yes, I do.
You do, though.
Do people actually say that?
Some people do, but the thing is, as someone who has had critters, not chickens, but I've had duck. Although her eggs weren't fertilized, she would let us take them. But if they don't bite you, and if they do not have any sort of emotion, and then they walk off in the breeze of the day, I think it's fine. As long as they don't want, to keep their eggs, it is fine. So there you go.
Other chicken news, Doris has behaved much better. Nobody's been particularly naughty this fortnight. Health all seems good too. One afternoon or evening, the hutch door to the coop shut somehow. I guess the wind or clumsy hen did it. So when it got dark, I found the hens in makeshift sleeping spots around the garden in the dark. Betty had let Mabel, it's that word, Kutch, up with her in her spot, for which I was proud of her.
Aww.
Betty may be mean to Mabel sometimes, but is there for her when it counts.
Yeah.
Another day I found a random slice of bread on the ground in my garden, not the first time. I think weird neighbours next door threw it in. Or a jackdaw dropped it by accident. It looked okay, but I wanted to give it a more thorough inspection for mould, so I put it in the aviary roof out of the hen's reach for a couple of minutes. And I go into the house to get or do something, then I hear the distress call. It's Doris. She's very upset. I go out, see no intruder, everyone's okay, but the bread is gone. I expect it was one of the jackdaws, and Doris could only helplessly watch them take away what she was looking forward to eating.
Aww.
She was so pissed off. I did give them some of the bread from the house to cheer them up.
Oh, bless.
Reminds me of years ago back in Cardiff, the hilarious relationship or rivalry Blue's original pack had with the magpies who lived there. They loved to wind up the hens, especially Blue. Doris has started laying eggs on the wall too now. I think they just like it up there for whatever reason. Wilma repeated her previous behaviour and alerted me to the fact. Loyal little deputy, so cute.
Oh.
YouTube, the absolute twat, keeps deleting my other comments, so I'll just add them to the chicken news. Funny, you're not the first person to mention that there have been some issues with comments not sticking around. So I would say if you are a regular commenter, just double check to make sure the comment has actually stuck.
Yeah.
Because I think it was on a Flipside episode, or this upcoming Flipside episode, there were a couple of people going, "Why didn't you read my comment?" And the answer is because it wasn't there for us.
Yeah.
But anyway, I am more of a Bruce than a Clark in how I view people. People generally are pretty terrible, and I do not expect our species to make it through the great filter. As for anime recommendations, I recommend Castlevania on Netflix. Yeah, I enjoyed Castlevania. I'll also shout out Solar Opposite on Disney Plus or Hulu. Not anime, but still animated. As for overruns when they happen, it's mostly our fault, the audience, including me, for writing many and or long comments. We are the villains destroying Luke's throat. I'm glad that you take responsibility for your heinous acts. Admitting you have a problem is the first step in addressing... I'm kidding. Another chicken update. Wilma's eggs have started getting paler and thinner shells. I have been expecting her eggs to begin deteriorating somewhat soon, seeing as that's already happened to all the other hens, the batch that she's from, Betty and Pebbles. So I've decided to fully retire Wilma and put her on those hormones that stop hens making eggs. I will miss her eggs. They're delicious, but they're not worth risking Wilma's health for.
Yeah.
Wilma is cheeky and mischievous, but a loyal hard worker. She kept me supplied with eggs all by herself all summer and through the autumn until after Doris and Mabel got strong enough to take over the work. She has earned her retirement. At least from that work. I'll still need Wilma doing Blue's old job as my deputy as head hen. If the hormones make too many feathers fall out in the cold weather, I can have her sleep in the house.
We love her.
Yeah, animals are funny little things, aren't they?
We love little critters. Not bugs. I don't like bugs. I mean, I don't want them to die, but I don't want them to live with me. But I love critters.
Right, next comment is from Time Lord Victorious. Hello, Time Lord Victorious. How are you doing? Phil, Batman is a great detective by effort and intelligence. Clark is mainly a good detective because of his superpowers. Sadly, think I'm a Batman because, like him, I'm a pessimistic person. A very English trait. Yeah, it is. Maybe it's the weather. Oh, okay, we've got another. Next comment is from Doc Widener, and it's another, hopefully full of fun stories. Thank goodness you're here. A little late. Coulda, shoulda listened to this on or back from the drive to Wheeling, West Virginia on Sunday. Had an all-day swim invitational there. Different format. The kids usually swim 3 or so individual events and maybe 2 relays. In this, they swim 9 individual events.
Whoa.
50 and 100 metres of freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, and the 100 individual medley.
I just feel exhausted.
The individual medley, 25 metres of fly, back, breast, and then free. Was starter for the event, so no time to listen then. It was about 3.5 hours there and back. The only problem is I find I want to listen to when I can write my reply as I listen. Makes for a longer note for Luke to read, though. Sorry, brother. Well, you're not the first person to apologise. And as we've said many times, we don't mind.
Yeah.
Talking about McFarlane, my little target, never has had the new BTAS figures or even gets the Cal. Yeah, some targets are just bad, like the one in San Mateo. That one was terrible.
You want to know something? My target was always great to me. I don't know why, but it was always great to me, and I miss it, but I don't miss it enough to move back.
I think I mentioned this before, but when I went to the one in San Mateo, they had literally 12 figures of Wave Rider. Wave Rider.
Like, that's a smaller target, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a tiny one. It was similar to the size to the one in was it Midwest City?
Yeah, but that's not like the biggest target, though.
No, it's not the biggest. But my point is, they had 12 Wave Rider figures. Now, you probably don't even know who Wave Rider is. He's an obscure Superman character. And they didn't have any of the Batman figures. And just like, these are Target exclusives, and they're Batman. They are going to sell. Whoever is ordering all of these Wave Rider figures is insane. Anyway, that's my rant over.
The Wave Rider fan quietly crying in the background.
Yeah, next episode, angry comment. How dare you, Wave Rider is the most significant character.
I am the orderer for the things in that Target, and sir, Wave Rider is the best. Click, 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 bye.
Unsubscribing because you're talking down to us Wave Rider fans.
Subscribe to unsubscribe.
Yeah. I do get comments like that, and I just shrug. But anyway, continuing Doc Widener's comment says, Bruce, before any evidence you lay out. So I guess he's saying that's who he thinks the best detective is. We'll see if I get convinced. Bruce is the better analyst. Maybe the money helps as far as computing power, but because he doesn't have powers, he has to rely on his mind. As we get to Luke's opinion on who is the better detective, he and I are on the same page. Sorry, Mary, on the better detective, Bruce. But the question of a better support team, that is a more interesting question. Bruce has what you laid out. Clark also has Star Labs. Haven't heard a mention of that yet. Oh yeah, we probably should have mentioned that. And something you touched on earlier, Superman will go to Bruce as well as any of the others, even the new gods. So I think Supes has the better, broader support team, but Bats has the better, intimate support team.
Yeah.
I want to be more like Clark, but events in this world are making me look at things more like Bruce. Yes. We are living in the dark timeline at the moment. I was surprised I saw a BTAS colouring book at Ollie's. I'm not sure if Mary knows them or not. They're like an odd lots, big lots, which may have made its way to Oklahoma. Basically, it's an overstock store.
I've heard of them before, but I don't remember actually seeing one in Oklahoma. But I have heard of them before. Anyhow,
not where I would have expected to find it. And yeah, I had meant to do a video talking about the colouring book this week, but I was bedridden for 3.5 days, and my voice still sounds like crap. So that'll just have to come out at some other point. Anyhow, not where I would have expected to find it. Currently, 2 dogs and 2 cats. Have had rats and fish. I did not have pets as a kid, unlike my wife. I would be content without them, but the others enjoy them, especially my older son, the cats.
I love rats.
The thing is, since I tend to feed them and let them in and out, the dogs like me best. Weirdly, same for the cats, which annoys Sergey. I guess I'm warmer and or softer or something, because if we sit down to watch something, they will often come into the room, look at Sergey, and jump on my lap.
It's the same with Luke. I bring them into this household, and they just love Luke. They do. They like me a little bit sometimes when I have chicken, but otherwise they're just like, I'm gonna cuddle with Luke. Like last night, Gilly was on the sofa. I sit on the sofa so much more than Luke because in the mornings I have my coffee and I sit on the sofa and watch a podcast. And my cat never in his life, his 2-something years of life, has sat down and actually cuddled me on the sofa. Last night I walked in there before I left to go out with a friend. He's up there cuddling. His belly's out. His legs are up. He's given himself a bath. He's comfortable enough to cuddle him and bathe himself.
Just to clarify, you are talking about Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
Not me. My belly was not out. My legs were not up. I was not giving myself a bath on the sofa.
I didn't mean to cough in y'all's ears, but speak of the devil. Gilgamesh is here. Mm-hmm. Hello.
Anyway, I'm going to continue the comment while the cat sniffs the microphone. I wish Luke watched Superman and... Did I even say that right? I wish Luke watched Superman and Lois. Related, but not super, no pun intended, tied to the rest of the Arrowverse. Definitely a bit teen soapy, but I would love to hear your reaction to their take on Doomsday. This season has been a bit more of a struggle, I think, since they made this the last season. They're trying to shoehorn in a lot of different things, compounded by a shorter number of episodes. Sergei is the only one to take karate. Daniel, bless him, is saddled with mum and dad's genetics. As for adopting, he was a gift to us. I recall talking to folks in grad school about this long before we adopted, and I was almost horrified about one of my friend's boyfriends who said he never wanted to adopt because he didn't want someone else's problem.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's not a very nice thing to say.
No.
I regret we didn't adopt domestically. This was the plan before the missus got sick. The agency we worked with handled Russia and Kazakhstan, excuse me. We had considered Korea, but we were too short. Korea has a BMI requirement for adoptive parents, so the joke is 6'2" me is too short. Oh, I see what you're saying. Anyhow, we were given expectations that our child would not be white. We had some relatives on both sides we were worried about, and we thought that darker than us but not black would ease them into the idea. In the US, a lot of babies in need of adoption are black, so additional adoptions were going to be domestic and likely would have been black, but that never happened. Sergei, as you saw in the pics, is not black, so that plan had issues before it collapsed anyhow. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs that people won't welcome people of colour into their family.
But it's here's the thing. It's a child.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what color their skin is. It's a beautiful gift, because that's what a child is a gift. And people are so bigoted that they would rather not adopt. And this is coming from people I know that have wanted to adopt but have said no to children because of the color of their skin. And it sucks.
All right, well, on that dour note, let's continue Doc Widener's comment. No funny stories this time. My prediction was wrong. Finally, especially since he was 10 months old and looked like us, adoption was, in my opinion, easy for us. It was no great sacrifice on our part. He was probably more of a gift for us. Well, just echoing what you said there, Mary. Yeah. The people I really admire are those that foster. We couldn't do that when we both worked, nor could we do it once the missus got sick. I know some folks that foster them, while I'm sure that there are those that view them as extra funds. The ones I know are living saints. The condition the kids come in sometimes. The call at any hour of the day. The fact that they have to give them back, even if they know the situation the kid's going back to is barely better than what got them yanked to begin with, would break my heart, and I don't think I could do it. Because I know of one family where they would get the same child over and over. Legally, they had to let the child go back. Eventually, the parent can screw up enough to lose them. But you asked about treating pets like kids. Some parents treat these kids worse than an animal. And they do just enough to keep getting them back. So, sorry this was long, but you were answering questions. But mostly were answering questions you asked, or to clarify the true heroes when it comes to helping kids.
I think fostering, just like you said, it is... I wouldn't be able to do it, because I don't think I would end up falling in love with a kid, and I would literally monitor that child, and I would end up being at the house every morning saying, "Did you take your vitamins? Did you, hello, excuse me, I'm here. You're not wearing that shirt. You can't have swear words at school."
All right, so next comment is from a new commenter, Mangalore3. Hello, Mangalore3. Says, Batman's the detective, not Superman, for the simple reason that that he needs to actually deduce things using his limited array of human senses and an encyclopedic knowledge of obscure facts, whereas Superman simply knows stuff. Where Batman would have to grab a soil sample and perform a spectrographic analysis to determine its contents, Superman can simply peer into the molecular level to get the answers he's looking for. where Batman would need to hack into a police database to run a match on a perp's face and cross-reference it against security camera footage. Superman could simply listen to his heartbeat 100 miles away. There is little deduction involved. Can't really argue against that much, I suppose.
I was trying to come up with something. I'm like, I can't.
Nope.
I know when I need to humble myself.
Next we have the Phantasm, who says, "Hi, Luke and Mary. Hello. Hope you're
Hola.
both well. I am not, but I'm getting there. I wanted to ask Luke for next October. I know Dr. Destiny is a character you're looking at covering. In addition to him, I would really like to ask if you would take a look at the Vertigo side of DC and cover the DCAMU, Tomorrowverse, John Constantine, since it's canonically the same version. And also Death of the Endless from the amazing short film from the DC Showcase, aptly named Death. I really think they lend themselves to the October setting extremely well. Never say never. Not my plans at the moment, but things could change. I think I've mentioned this before, but I tend to map out content at least 6 months in advance. Although, actually, I've not updated my plans for a little while. That was one of the things I was going to do this week while I was off, but I think I'm mapped out until March.
Tell us that again, please. Tell us more.
Tell us what? Oh, that I was sick?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I actually had the flu and I was in bed for 3 days. Couldn't get out of bed. I had to play Vampire Survivors for like 20 hours. All the anguish.
I know, and
the hardship.
It wasn't just city flu, it was man flu, which means obviously it was about 10 times worse than regular lady flu.
Well, you know, there is actually there have been scientific studies that show that men's bodies react to flu differently to women's.
Oh, okay.
It's true, just Google it. I read something on the BBC News about it.
Google tells me everything true.
Well, if you look at official sources, then yes, it does. I'm not saying I'm not saying going on like Luke's blog where he says that men have it worse than women. That's not a reputable source. But if you've got a scientific paper that has been published and vetted by various educational institutions, then I think you can believe it.
I'm obviously just kidding, by the way.
She hates me, everyone. Here's the proof.
I do not. I don't know anything about who suffers from flu the most. All I know is Luke suffers from it the most.
Out of anyone on this planet.
Yeah.
Poor me.
Yeah.
Anyway, final comment is Captain Al says, who we haven't heard from for a while. Hope you're doing all right, Captain Al. I know things have been tough recently.
Yeah.
I'd like to say the better detective is Bruce. He usually is depicted as the better detective, but even if we assume they are equal, then his skill allows him to operate at a comparable level to Clark's very cheaty superpowers. Clark is absolutely a highly skilled investigator, but he is better equipped by his superpowers. His senses alone far exceed the capabilities of Bruce's tech in nearly every way. The clincher for me is that if their resources were to be swapped, Clark has all the techs and Bruce has all the powers. Those superpowers would be a force multiplier for Bruce's deductive skills, and the technology simply would not match for Clark as a journalist. That's a very good point. But the real winner is us, because if Batman and Superman are competing to see who can solve the case first or the best, that case is getting solved. And those were all of the comments, and we're running over massively. So, Mary, would you like to very briefly talk about what we're going to be discussing in the next episode?
Why don't you talk about it? Because I always talk about it.
All right, fine. This is just a cover because you've forgotten, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So we've done our Thanksgiving special. Next time is going to be one of our 2 Christmas specials.
Yeah.
And the first one, we're going to be talking about the really very festive episode of Batman the Animated Series, A Bullet for Bullock.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to add before we go, Mary?
Yes, we are doing a video on my channel for holiday nights.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're actually recording that tonight.
Oh, if my voice gets better, then yes. Otherwise, it'll have to be tomorrow, probably.
Excuse me, I am recording mine tonight.
Yes, yeah. You know what's going to be really funny about all this sickness? I'm probably going to be fully recovered by tomorrow, which is when I'm supposed to be back at work, which always happens. Makes me mad. Anyway.
Okay, guys. I just want to say, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't, that's okay. I hope you a great day, a great night, and a good week. It has been miserable with the weather, which means It's my time. I love miserable weather, but if you're having any problems with your mood or anything like that, you're not alone. And if you want to talk, I'm here. And also, remember, Netflix kind of has some nice true crime murder stuff.
Yeah, very festive. Perfect for this warm season of family and friendship.
Love you guys. Have a really great week, and love you.